When I got my first camera, I was stuck on auto mode for the longest time. Anytime I switched over to manual mode, the settings felt like I was disarming a freaking bomb. Every time I tried shooting in manual mode, my footage just looked like this.
Oh my God!
That's when I finally learned what ISO, aperture, and shutter speed actually do, and it made shooting in manual mode so much easier. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what those three things do and not feel restricted while using your camera. When it comes to camera setting, there are three core settings that you need to know, and these settings are going to dictate how your image turns out. The first one is ISO. ISO controls how sensitive your camera is to light. A lower ISO gives you a cleaner image, but needs a lot more light. A high ISO has a brighter image, but it gets a lot more grainy. And when I say grainy, I mean the little white dots that are moving around the frame when your camera doesn't have enough light. That noise that you're seeing on the footage means that your camera doesn't have enough light and is working overtime to try to produce the amount of light that it needs. So in general, there's one simple rule to follow. Keep your ISO as low as possible while still getting enough brightness in your image. As a general rule of thumb, sunny days, I'm shooting between ISO 100 to 200. If I'm shooting indoors with a decent amount of light, I'll be shooting between ISO 800 and 1600. And if it's night or it's dark or I just don't have any choice, I might crank my ISO up to 32,000 and kind of just accept the grain. Some cameras handle higher ISOs a lot better, and usually those are more expensive professional cameras. Lower cameras will tend to cap out at 1600, but that's kind of what you have to deal with in certain situations. So you want to be careful not to bring your ISO too high, because then you're going to get a really grainy image. So when it comes to video, it's a little bit different, but don't worry, it's not too confusing. It's actually easier because a lot of manufacturers have a native ISO for the camera. Now, this is basically the ISO range that your camera is going to perform the best. It's going to capture the most amount of darkness and the most amount of highlights in your image and get you more of that kind of cinematic look. So if you can figure out what your camera native ISO is, set it to that, leave it at that, and then adjust the next few settings that we're going to talk about to get some really, really good images. So once again, if you're doing photography, keep your ISO as low as possible. And if you're doing video, find the native ISO of your camera and set it to that. For you to really get great and amazing videos and photos, this setting is going to be crucial. Oh, what's that? A bell icon? Oh wait, so does that mean that subscribing to this channel will actually allow you to learn more about camera settings and how to become a better photographer and filmmaker? Huh. Jokes aside, it really helps, and it helps me continue to make great videos like this. All right, let's get back to it. Now, ISO is just basically damage control. Aperture is where the next setting really gets interesting. Aperture is everyone's favorite because it's what makes the background super, super blurry and gives you that I know what I'm doing look. And it's super simple. It's basically just how big the hole is that is allowing the light to come into the camera. In very basic terms, the bigger the hole, the more light that comes in, and the smaller the hole, the less amount of light that comes in through the camera. Simple, right? But the numbers are backwards. If you want a blurrier background, let's say you're shooting portraits, you want to be shooting anywhere between 1.8 and f4 to get that really nice, creamy, out of focus background. And let's say you're doing landscapes and you want to get all of that distance in focus, you'd be shooting between f8 or even f11. So here's the catch. Aperture is controlled by the lenses and not by your camera. Some lenses will open up to f1.4 and some will open up to f4. Usually the lower number is the more expensive lens because it allows a lot more light to come into the lens. So that's kind of the trade-off. A 1.4 will usually be a lot more expensive than, let's say, an f4. Remember in my last video when I said lenses mattered a lot more than cameras? Well, this is kind of the explanation to that. And oh, what's that over there? Oh, I guess that's the video I was talking about. Maybe if you want to learn more about like buying your first camera and what you should look at, you should click on that. But after the video, because we gotta finish it. All right, Okay, let's get back to it now. Okay, now that ISO and aperture are done with, we have one last setting to look over, and that setting is shutter speed. Think of it like how fast you can blink. Now, a faster blink, so a faster shutter, will blink a lot faster, which means there's a lot less light coming into the camera, and it kind of freezes the motion. Now, slower shutter, long blinks, more light, a lot more motion blur. It's measured in a fraction of a second. So 1/500 is a really fast blink, very quick, and 1/30th is a very slow shutter speed, allows a lot more light, but then motion blur starts to be a really big issue. So the cool thing about photos is you can basically do whatever you want when it comes to shutter speed. You want to freeze a basketball mid-air, shoot at 1/1000th of a second, or if you want to get a lot of motion blur on someone running or a car driving super fast, you can shoot at like 1/30th or 1/60th just to have that motion blur in the shots. You basically have full creative freedom when it comes to photography. However, when it comes to video on aperture, you are much more restricted. When you're shooting video, it's kind of easier because your shutter speed is basically locked in. The rule, shutter speed equals double your frame rate. You're shooting at 24 frames per second, you want a shutter speed of 1/48 or 1/50, depending on your camera. If you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you want 1/60th as a shutter. You're shooting at 60 frames per second, you'd be going at 1/20th or a little more. So let me just show you what aperture does in real time to your motion blur. So if we lower this, as you can see, I am glitching out like crazy. The motion blur is insane, and you can barely see anything that's going on. This is regular, so if I'm moving, there's still a little bit of motion blur happening, but it's not as bad. And we've gone accustomed to this specific motion blur. And then if you look at like 200 or 1/60 right now, you can see there's a lot less motion blur at 1/160th. So that is what your shutter speed does with video. Now, if you try to break this rule, let's say you're shooting at 24 frames per second and you have a 1/500 shutter speed, and you're gonna get that super choppy kind of look. But if you're shooting at a lower shutter speed, your footage is gonna look super blurry. So unless you're doing that for a creative choice, just stick it to 1/48 or 1/50 and your job is done. So that means that for video, you basically have two options, your ISO and your aperture, that really control the amount of light coming into your camera. Unless you have an ND filter, which is basically like sunglasses for your camera, but I'll make a whole other video on using NDs and how to control light using NDs in another video. So now that you have ISO, aperture, and now shutter speed, these three settings all control how bright your image is. Now the relationship is you change one and the other ones are affected. That's why it's kind of in a triangle shape, because each of them are necessary to getting a correct exposure. So example, your shot looks good, you got the camera set up and you're shooting and you want a blurrier background. Let's say your lens is at f4, you bring it up to f1.8 to get that really nice blurry background. But now it's way too bright. So you have to lower your ISO in order to rebalance the image. It's really a balancing act. That's why they call it the exposure triangle. It sounds a little bit complicated, but once you do it a few times, it becomes automatic and second nature. All right, a quick recap when it comes to your video settings. For aperture speed, you want to keep your shutter at 2 times your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 24, that's 1/50. If you're shooting at 30, that's 1/60. And if you're shooting at 60, it's 1/120. When it comes to ISO, you want to keep your ISO as low as possible or at your camera native ISO to have a clean image. And if you boost up your ISO, just know that it's going to get much grainier. So when it comes to photography, you have a lot more freedom when it comes to shutter speed. Just keep in mind that a slow shutter like 1/30 will have some motion blur unless you're shooting on a tripod. And if you're shooting at 1/500 or more, you'll freeze time a little bit more and is usually really nice for photography. So when it comes to ISO, it's kind of similar as video. You want to keep the ISO as low as possible when you can to have really clean blacks. And when you have a higher ISO, you will have grainier image. And there are very specific situations where a higher ISO can result in a cleaner image, but we'll take a look at that in another video because that's a little bit more advanced. Now, the only way to actually learn this is to stop watching YouTube tutorial videos, grab your camera and actually go shoot. Take bad photos, film bad clips. I have so many shitty photos that I've shot when I first started, but it's important to the learning process. And trust me, if you keep going it's gonna feel like a second nature. Now go outside, touch some grass or some snow, depending on what time of year it is, and bring your camera and go have some fun. So if you definitely learned a few things from this video, definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video, let me know down in the comment section below what you wanna see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one.